about, like, do you prefer to date, like, not in a relationship, but do you prefer to date one specific person at a time, or do you go on dates, like, with different multiple people? I mean, I can go both ways, but I prefer to, I can go both ways. I have done both ways, but I prefer to date one person at a time. That way I'm not trying to spread myself thin.
But that's the hard part, because you don't know if the other person is, just dating you. Like, when you're talking to the person, it's just like, they could say that, okay, I'm just talking to you, but at the end of the day, they have other people on the side. You know what I mean?
True.
So I think it's okay to talk to multiple people and to date multiple people, because you're not in a relationship. So.
But also, let's talk about it while we on it. Dating costs money. Okay. If you dating folks,
you're not paying. So
I mean, you gotta have some kind of financial stability if you really want to date somebody. You need to.
Where it's just like, you drive. You got a job. What kind of job you got? Like, it's not the type of date that I want. It don't even sound like a good date. It sounds like a date that's going to use me, and that's it.
Interview.
Exactly. What's your credit score, bitch? No. No, that's how they do. They got empty pockets. It's like you have wine taste with empty pockets. Like, how is that possible? Like,
girl, you can't be high maintenance and broke at the same time.
Like, and then expect the person that you're dating or want to date to give you this lavish lifestyle. No.
Period. You trying to make yourself thin on that? Like, no, it's just not gonna work.
It's not.
But you just gonna have to budget yourself.
Not budget yourself. You budget yourself.
You just gonna have to
save a little money for our date. You don't even know what date you going on or what the person wants. You just gonna budget. Like, what?
Know how to at least manage everything else when you're on a date. The best thing you can control is your own end of things.
Yeah, that's true. You can control.
So,
yeah. Be like, look, I'm putting me first. Look,
I think it's really good for the fact that, like, it's very admirable, and, like, I think it's a turn on low key for someone.
It is.
That, like, if you're talking to somebody and they let you know, like, before y'all go on a date or hang out, like, hey, just so you know, let me double check, let me get back on you with that. Like, I'm working on my financial side. I just want to double check with that and budget myself before going to, entertain us.
But for me, it's like, I'm the type of person, like, as soon as you sit down, I'll be like, look, we don't have to go on anything fancy. We can just go on a walk in the park and talk. If you're okay with that. Like,
that's what you want to do.
Yeah, like, that's okay for me. With me, like, it's okay. We don't have to go to dinner if you don't have the financial,
And I'm all for that too, at the end of the day, because it's all about just the quality time. At the end of the day, for me, it's about, companionship.
Yes.
That's first on my list. Like, yes, sex is important, and of course. However, it's like companionship, natural companionship is most important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's that person that's just there that you can connect with at all times.
Yeah. So sex is the first thing that people really, sex sells,
It does. It is important, but it's not everything in a relationship.
No, it's not. If you're attracted to the person and everything like that, but the sex was horrible, would you still want to be with that person? You know what I mean? But they had the good personality. But they have everything else. They have everything else going that you like.
So, I mean, I've been in this situation. This my last relationship, honestly. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the fact that the sex was bad. It's the fact that.
What did you like about it?
I didn't have any issues per se, but I think it's when I touched on the fact that I feel like it was maybe because I moved into the relationship too fast. Because I was sexually attracted to this person and we had everything else great, like communication and stuff. However, he felt a ways and he started to feel a little insecure and felt like it was him. Like, I wasn't attracted to him because the sex was like, he felt like I wasn't like emotionally like completely opening up myself with him when it came to the sex part, and which I wasn't, and it wasn't intentional. It was just a natural thing, and it was just like, okay, maybe it was because this was too quick. And then also prior to that, I wasn't having, in the last relationship, I didn't have intercourse for a year. So it was just like, I don't know, like like maybe that is like the case. So maybe that's like that situation. So it wasn't like the fact that it was bad, but this is where in a case where you really need to make sure you're ready for that.
Oh yes, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's important to know, like to be aware, like okay, am I ready for this next step in a relationship? When I'm dating somebody or seeing somebody in a relationship, am I ready for that part?
Yes.
You should never have to rush yourself to be ready.
You shouldn't. No, you definitely shouldn't. But you know, nowadays a lot of people do things.
Yeah.
That's what it's based off of, you know, with sexual attraction. And for me, it's like that's the worst thing to base it off of, because then it's just, is it lust or is it really like, are you guys lusting over each other, or do you guys really, you know, like each other?
So this is not speaking on myself because this wasn't the case for me, but for some, yes, it is lust over everything else. But when it comes to that, my longest relationship that I've been in this far, I was with somebody that I was not, and this is the reason why I ended up ending the relationship, I was not sexually attracted to. Everything else was great, I just wasn't sexually attracted. And at the end of the day, it ended up being more, like it ended up actually becoming an importance to me, you know, to a degree, than it was originally. And so it's like, okay, you cannot forget that factor, that it is important. That's why it is still important. It's not the most important, but it's important. So it's good to have like a balance. I feel like you have to have like a balance between the two things. Like, okay, don't lust too hard. People tend to put themselves in a box or put other people in a box when it comes to like, okay, this is my type. This is what I want on paper. And like when it comes to these dating apps, like certain apps, they want you to, they ask you, so it's not their fault, but it's your own fault for putting yourself like, okay, this is what I want to a T.
They do
like,
ask you, and they have it all set up to where
yeah,
like,
and then you're setting yourself up to be like, this is what I want, and those people show up, and then you're setting your like self up to leave out others that could be very well suited for you that are in that criteria that you want to.
That is very, very true.
And then you're missing out on a good thing
because you're so focused on what your ideal person is. You know what I mean? Of what you really, really want. But we're not gonna get what we really, really want out of life all the time. You know what I mean?
And then what we want may not be what we need.
You're so right.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, yes. Because the person that you least expect to be for you is the one that's you're gonna fall in love with. And listen, that's my situation right now. And I'm just like, okay, I accept it.
Right, okay.
That's
come here, baby.
Come on.
Come here.
Exactly.
Give it to me.
But yeah, like these dating apps, so like I was telling you, like I came across a few people that was just like, well, I don't like you because you seem a little bit too feminine for me, and I'm just like, well, you didn't even get a chance to meet me. You didn't even talk to me or anything. Like you don't even know my personality or anything. You just judge off of a picture that I sent you.
And it's like, how do you? I hate that. Like
Mm-hmm.
self-expression is a quick judgment from other people.
Yes.
Like, oh, you seem masculine, you seem thin.
Yes.
I met several people who may come across feminine, quote unquote, that people would stereotype feminine just because they wear makeup, but are like in person, you know, they have other qualities that would be like a whole different vibe. And then you have others who are like, oh, gym heavy and everything that everyone else would consider masculine.
Those are the most,
and they
ones.
would be they would have more other feminine qualities than the rest. And so it's like, quit putting that stigma on people, making quick judgment just based off a picture. Or the most thing, and I know you got this, we discussed this years ago, that like just based off a certain picture, you'd be like, oh, you look like you a bottom. Like, excuse me? Like,
you look like you're bottom.
I can speak for myself. When I used to be like, when in my younger days, I used to be like, okay, you giving trade teas or whatever, just based off what you look like. It's like, what? Like, I don't understand. And it's like, I'm not offended for the fact that you think this is what I am that I'm not, well, at least at the time, but just the fact that you're making quick judgment on me, and it's like, I'm not judging you on a quick factor of things, so why are you judging me? You know, let's find out naturally. Don't assume. Just ask me, if anything, but just naturally find out through conversation. You know, don't just jump the gun and be like, oh, well, I just do this and that and the third. I'd be like, actually, sir. Actually, little do you know.
Meeting somebody, like, right off the bat, off of those dating apps, when you know,
like a hookup?
Yeah, no, not
Or
a
just
hookup.
like
When they be like, so you want to meet up? Like what? Like we just started talking.
I mean,
does that scare you? Because it scared me. Because I'd be like, it makes me hesitant. Because I'm like, I don't know if you would kill her or something, or if you try to kidnap me or something.
The apps came out in general, like the apps, like smartphone apps, came out when we were, in college years. Like we were already 19, 18, 19 of years of age. Yeah. And so when that started to become popular, that's when it was like, okay, let's be careful. Let's watch out for the girls.
Yeah, but then you hear stories like, people getting killed and all this stuff.
Well, still to this day.
It still happens.
But it's like, I feel like it's easier to pick up on it just based off like a natural conversation. Like, if you really get to know a person and you're very observant off of a profile and off of pictures, and you actually get a chance to, because we both been catfish, child. But that's a story for another time. But based off of like actual FaceTiming and video chat or whatever, that's when you could be like, okay, let's actually meet up in person, or like you can just sense it.
Yeah,
like,
you want to
okay,
FaceTime first, like, then, get to that point of FaceTime.
Yeah, or even if I don't, because I haven't, like, with everybody, it's like,
yeah,
I get a great, for a good portion, like, I get a good sense of like a feel for the person before I meet them.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You get a feel of the person by just chatting with them of who they are. But then again, that can, they can mislead you and give you, tell you everything that you want to hear, and just to try, get you in.
That's true. So, but girl, we meeting up at Starbucks, okay? Girl, I'll get a caramel macchiato. You can't wash. Now look, if anything, I'm paying for myself, but we meeting up.
Give me a ShopRite.
Girl, outside, in public, chat where everybody can see, because the camera's at the corner.
I'm screaming.
Because I ain't got time.
Camera.
We ain't got time. No ma'am. No ma'am.
Meet me at the police station.
My location on. Best friends got my location. Well, I did that a few times actually with y'all. When you and Brandon and Jason, I'll be like, I send my location. He will be like so confused. I'm like, girl, I'm going to this location. We're on the date. So be on the lookout, girl. Because you never know. Like,
I just be like, all right, I got you.
Still, just in case.
I got you.
Yes, like my intuition be good with going in public places, but still like, just in case.
You never know, though. You
never know. Like, I feel that people shouldn't limit themselves when it comes to their types of dating, who they're dating, and distance is the only exception, I feel, to a degree.
To a degree, I think if you're a distance person and you can handle it, then that's fine for all means, go for it. But I'm not a distance person. I need you right here and right there. I need that
I got
touch
to that point,
and
sure.
I can't.
I
can't. I tried the distance thing and it just wasn't for me. Like, it's just like, I can't see you. I have to travel to go see you. I have to pay money. Who wants to do that?
It's extra. I tried it several times in other past, even my last relationship, it was only like 2.5 hours away, but it's still like out the ways of like both ends going out their way to see each other, which is still great. It's cool, it's no problem, but it's just like it would be something to actually, when you're going through hard times or going through something, you just want that like intimacy, not even sexually, but just the natural intimacy in person, just so that person's there. And it's just like, yeah, it's hard to find that though. I feel like it's so easy to get attached to somebody that's so further away from you than it is to somebody that's so really local.
Because you can never find any locals, like, for some reason that you connect with. It's always somebody that's either so far away. Just like, damn.
It's like, dang, no matches. Okay.
Exactly. Like,
everybody want to hook up locally. Everybody and their mama want to hook up locally. Okay.
You find the people that really want
200 miles away.
Like, in a whole other country. It's just like, wait a minute, you in a whole nother country.
And then it's COVID on top of that now. It's even harder for everybody. Like, what is going on? But we digress. We shot digress.